Hello, all of you out there in YouTube land. I guess this is actually kind of the first time I've done one of these. I don't really know how that's possible since I've been on YouTube since 2006. Is that right? Yeah, it is right. Wow, I am old. Yeah, I thought that I would start making some of these videos whenever I have the chance, and I really wanted to share some information today because I feel like there's probably some questions going around like, where's Chloe? I don't see her very much anymore. Did she quit playing violin? Where are her videos? She's not uploading anything. She's not posting on Instagram. Those are all really good questions that I sometimes have for myself too. I just kind of wanted to come here and make a video to explain where I've been and what's been going on in my life. And to answer the question, have I really quit playing the violin? Well, we will see. To start with, if you are one of my new followers, you may not know that my mother passed away last year after a really long battle with breast cancer. It was about 10 years, I think. So she passed away in May 2018. This is probably one of the main contributors to my absence from the internet, which if you have lost a parent or a close loved one, it probably makes a lot of sense to you. You may not also know that my mother was also a violinist. She played in the Dallas Symphony Orchestra for over 35 years. She was pretty awesome. And she was actually my very first violin teacher. You might have seen this video about starting the violin at 18 months, and you can see a little bit of like, she's in there a little bit just at the beginning, I think, and then I kind of showed my progress through playing violin and the pieces that I played and recitals and things like that. I made that video for her for Mother's Day a few years ago, actually, and she really enjoyed it. But because of this, I very strongly associate music and violin with my mom, for good reason. She was my first teacher. I studied with her until I was about 8. And she was one of my biggest inspirations, and we actually got to play together a lot in the Dallas Symphony. We played recitals together, and you know, I can't really think about violin without thinking about my mom too. So I've been thinking about that more lately and wondering if that's part of the reason why just sometimes getting out the instrument has been so difficult for me, because everyone has, you know, issues with practicing and being like, I'm not motivated, I don't really feel like playing today, or I'm just going through like a burnout phase. But this has been quite a long stretch of time that I've been struggling, and I feel like that might have something to do with it. Maybe now that I've kind of identified that, it'll be a little bit easier, because I've definitely had like weeks go by at a time where I don't feel like touching my instrument at all. And even more recently, there's been almost a month that I didn't practice at all, which is really scary for me to say and really crazy. I don't remember the last time that happened. I might have been like 6. I think at most I've taken off a week here and there from playing, but even that was rare. So for it to be more than a week and close to a month is really unheard of for me. With my mom's passing, I was basically thrown into the position of the executor of the estate, and all of a sudden having to deal with a lot of financial and legal and just general home things that I never had to deal with before, ever. I've just always kind of done everything on my own. I've never dealt with financial advisors or had to make mortgage payments or deal with multiple bank accounts and things like this. And unfortunately, I was not prepped for any of this. So I've been trying to figure it out on my own for the past 1.5 years. It's going slowly. It is, you know, going, but there's a lot of stress that comes along with that, and it has worn me out a lot. I have been trying to clean out the house that she and I and my brother and my grandmother and my stepfather lived in for over 20 years. So this house, we had 5 people there and all of their things. And my family kept a lot of stuff. It wasn't even nice stuff half the time, it was just stuff. So now I'm trying to go through all of that, clean out the house so that I can sell it, because I don't need a house that big for just me. It doesn't make any sense. So that is a project I have been working on a lot, but it's not going quite as fast as I would like for it to be going. So that is also stressful. So all of those things have happened on top of the grief that I've been dealing with then having to deal with all that stuff and the confusion and stress of it has just been really overwhelming. In addition to also having concerts to perform and practice and maintain my own life. Like, you know, I have to get up and shower. There have also been many other major life changes. I started dating my wonderful boyfriend, and we have been together for about 14 months now. But relationships take a lot of time and work, and so that has been a very big change in my life. Some of my very best friends have moved away. Channing moved to New York City recently, and my pianist Jonathan moved to Memphis. That is the garage door below me, because I am staying in a garage apartment right now for the week in Houston, which is very nice, but that is the garage. I have started a lot of therapy and counseling to deal with a lot of things in my life and the grief from losing my mom, also going to some classes at church to deal with that, just thinking and sleeping and resting. All the things. So all of those things are big life changes for me, but the biggest life changes has probably been that I started my own music camp. And the first year of the Chloe Trevor Music Academy actually occurred 2 months after my mom died. And that was kind of one of my biggest nightmares the entire year before her passing. She actually became paralyzed the year before she died. And so my brother and I were having to take care of her all the time, which was a nightmare in itself because we're not trained for that, so it was really scary to deal with, and it was just really heartbreaking to watch. We kind of knew that maybe the last bit of time that we would have with her, the whole year I was just thinking, just please, just don't let her die right before the camp, because I don't know how I will manage, how I will get through the camp if that happens. And unfortunately it did happen that way. I was so busy that summer that I think I just kind of plowed through. I had a lot of concerts and I had a lot of work to do for the camp and then the camp itself. And it was incredibly successful. It was really great. We had 100 kids there from all around the world and it was really fantastic. You can find other videos about the Chloe Trevor Music Academy in one of these places here if you'd like to. It's a really great experience and I've loved working on it, but it is a full-time job. It is more than a full-time job. It is probably like 5 people's full-time job, where Channing and I are doing basically everything. Why did we do this? Start a camp, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It's fun when you're there. It's not fun the rest of the year. So I basically have had all of these new things come up in my life. I've been sad, I've been depressed, I've been overwhelmed, I've been beside myself, just trying to make it through each day. Because while a lot of these things are really great and wonderful, they still take up so much time and energy. And the camp was also kind of inspired by my mom because she was a music teacher. Like I said, she started teaching me when I was 2 and she had a lot of students, and she's the reason that I started teaching when I was 12. And so she was a big inspiration for the camp to actually start. And so it was really tragic for me to have the first year of the camp and realize that she wasn't even there to see it. So that was really hard and heartbreaking for me. So general life changes have been a major reason that I have been a little more absent on social media lately and haven't gotten to practice as much as I would like. But there's another aspect to this whole thing, and I feel like I'm gonna struggle to really explain this in the way that I mean, so hopefully it'll come across to you, and I'll most definitely be talking about this in future videos, so hopefully it will be explained better in a future video if I don't explain it well here. But I am extremely unhappy with social media, just the general social media world as a whole, which for someone who has pretty much generated her entire career from social media and really enjoyed it at one time, that's really hard for me to say. And it's been really hard for me to admit that I'm a little bit over it, which is ironic for me to say in a YouTube video. I had to kind of get to that point where I was just like, you know what, this is dumb. This whole thing is dumb. It's not worth what I was putting into it, which was pretty much my whole life and soul and all of my time. I was kind of destroying myself with it, and I came to a lot of realizations that it's just not important enough to do that to my life. It's not important enough to sacrifice my health, physical and my mental health. It's not important enough to sacrifice my relationships with my family, my relationships with my friends, my romantic relationship, even my relationship with my dog, who is behind me on the floor asleep and you cannot see him. Social media is just so, you have to be thinking about it all the time, which then kind of leads to you thinking about yourself all the time. It just becomes about me, and it was just mind-blowing to me how unhappy I was becoming with this whole thing. I've noticed the trend with being unhappy with it getting worse over the past 2 or 3 years, especially since Instagram messed with their algorithm a whole lot. I know they're always messing with the algorithm, but I think everyone can agree with me that in 2017 or something, there was a major change in how the algorithm worked, and I just started getting really unhappy with it. But especially over the past few months, I've been noticing more and more when I go on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, probably on YouTube as well, it just feels like everything is becoming so fake. Everything is just curated to like the nth degree. And I know this is not new, but I feel like the level of it has gotten a lot worse lately, to the point, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I am just realizing other things are so much more important in life, and that's why it looks that way to me. I'm not sure, but I feel like I've talked to some people and they understand what I mean when I say that there's been a stark kind of change in how people are presenting themselves online. You know, I just realized that I don't want to be a brand, which is hard because it already kind of happened. I already kind of am a brand. That happened maybe unintentionally for me with social media, but I don't want to be a brand. I want to be a real person. I don't want to be someone who comes on here and is like, hey guys, today I'm going to show you about how to practice this and how to have a great life, and like, you know, this weird social media persona, professional persona, like whatever that is. Sure, that can sometimes be fun to watch videos like that. I watch YouTube videos about various subjects all the time, but I don't want to become that person. And I feel like I was maybe going in that direction a little bit, and I felt an incredible amount of pressure to keep up this image and keep up this persona of like the always cheerful, funny, I mean, maybe some people think I'm funny, I don't know, crazy redheaded violinist. And especially over the past year or two, you know, since I've been struggling so much, I've been feeling so much pressure to be that person still. And the thing is, I'm not that person anymore. I guess there's a question of, was I ever that person? Was I ever that persona that I created for myself? And to be honest, I'm not really sure. I think to a degree, a lot of it was real, but also, you know, a part of you dies with the person close to you who passes away. And so I've wondered, like, why do I not really feel like myself anymore? Why do I feel like it's so difficult for me to be me? And I think it's just a combination of a lot of things. All the things I've discussed in this video so far, which also comes down to changing values. I think I've been realizing a lot over the past year that what's important to me is changing. Relationships, peaceful life, organization, minimalist, living simply, all of this stuff, I crave that so much more than I crave performing, which sounds strange. I never believed that I would say something like that. You know, for my entire life, it was just work, 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 practicing, winning competitions, getting to the best schools, doing all this stuff, which did ultimately lead me to a major playing injury that I will definitely discuss in a future video. After the playing injury, I had a very large change of values with teaching. Suddenly I wanted to teach a lot more, and I still wanted to perform a lot more, but I realized the competitions weren't important. It wasn't about trying to reach perfection and all this, which I think is where I might have been as a teenager and in my early 20s. And so then teaching and performing in an authentic way is what really started to drive me. But lately, it's been changing even more than that. It's been saying, like, you know, even without the violin. I love you, Carlo, and I love playing violin, and it is a major part of my life, but I've had to come to a realization that even without the violin, I'm still a person. Even if I never played again from today on, I would still have a purpose in life. Yes, I do believe that God gave me a gift with music and a passion for teaching and all of these things, and I do believe that He wants me to use them for His kingdom and for His glory. But like I said, I can still do that even if I don't play violin anymore. And that was a really hard realization for me to come to. I was hearing it in my head for a little bit, but not wanting to accept it, and I think it's something I've been accepting a lot more over the past few months. None of this means that I'm not going to play violin anymore. It's just I'm realizing where it's a priority in my life, and it's maybe not as high as it used to be, and that's actually a good thing, because it was so high on my priority list that it was destroying me. There's just been a lot that I've realized over the past year, over the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, and I'm trying to figure out what that means for my future. I don't plan to stop playing violin. I don't plan to leave Instagram or YouTube. I don't plan to stop performing. I don't plan to stop the Chloe Trevor Music Academy. All of these things are still very important to me, and I think that they are a major part of my purpose. But I'm realizing there are some other things in my life that might be even more important, and that I need to put some time and energy into them as well. So that's a bit where I am right now. I'm feeling pretty good this week. The past couple of months have been really rough, but I'm starting to feel better. I think I'm feeling a little more settled and centered about this whole idea and figuring out really what's important in my life, what I want to do with my life. Still have a lot of work to do on that and a lot to figure out, but I'm hoping that I'll actually be able to kind of figure some of that out with these YouTube videos. I'm hoping to be able to start some regular series, maybe where I do some discussions on things, talk about practicing, talk about trending things in classical music or music in general, talking about how I incorporate my faith into my practicing and my performing, and just my ideas about classical music as a whole. I have a lot of things that I want to share, and I've actually been making lists of these things for years. I have lists from pretty much 2008 that I've been writing down, just have never done them. So I'm excited to hopefully get started on those. I also have a lot of performance videos to upload that will hopefully happen over the next few months, because you may have noticed I haven't posted any for quite a number of years, and I have been playing a lot almost every month. So be on the lookout for those. And it is October now, so if you guys want to check out my Danse Macabre music video, you can click that here, wherever that goes. You may have seen it already. Maybe that's why you're watching this video now, because you saw that. It is around 725,000 views right now, and I have this kind of crazy goal that I want to see if I can get it to 1 million by Halloween. That's crazy for me. I've never gotten that many views in such a short amount of time. But it would be really cool to have my first video hit 1 million views and be able to celebrate that and be able to be like, it's on Halloween, it's the Halloween video. I don't know. So if you want to share that with people and help me get to that goal, feel free. If you're sick of Danse Macabre though, because that's kind of the standard classical music Halloween piece, you can check out this other video that I have, which is John Williams' Devil's Dance. Super fun. This is actually a live performance. I love that piece so much. It is incredible. It's really hard. I want to get it back into my fingers to play again maybe this month. But check that out if you would like. And you can look at any of my other videos if you want. Feel free to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I don't want to be one of those like, click and subscribe, but I do want to be able to share my life with you guys in a real, authentic way, and hopefully you will enjoy that too. I hope you have a wonderful day and go out there and do what you love.